What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. We want to talk about something today that I don't know how many times I can put it in different terms to try to make people understand, but there seems to be this misconception that when you do something to attain your goal, once you've attained your goal, that you no longer have to do what you had to do to attain your goal, to maintain your goal. And I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? And it's, you know, like steroids, for instance, right? Oh, you know, I'm going to take one cycle. What do you think's going to happen when you come off that fucking cycle? You lose the fucking gains. For some reason, people get it stuck in their head. They can maintain gains from steroids. And I've seen people work out with weights, you know, weight training for a while. And, you know, next thing you know, I take a month off. And they're like, oh, well, my weight didn't even change. I'm like, yeah, but look at you. Look drastically different. Like you lost muscle mass and you gained fat by not working out. Yeah, the scale didn't move. You didn't maintain your muscle mass. You maintained a weight by eating the same amount of bullshit that you've been eating for fucking however many months, years, whatever. And I don't get it. Like, it confuses me. Like, you have to continue to do what you do to continue to maintain or even improve. Like, that's all there is to it. It's not particularly like that just with the bodybuilding fitness stuff, right? And I had this discussion with somebody the other day, and they were like, well, I don't understand why I can't just get there and then just maintain it by, you know, not doing it anymore. I don't want to train year round. I don't want to train my whole life. I just want to get a good body and keep it. And I'm like, well, I wish it was that fucking simple, and I wish it worked like that. I mean, that would be great. You know, like Ronnie Coleman would have to go to the gym for 6 months and then become Mr. Olympia and win 7 Mr. Olympia titles without having to fucking take a single steroid or you know, go to the gym anymore. That'd be great. But I had to break it down and like put it like this, right? Let's say you're going to run a marathon and it's a 10-mile marathon. I don't even know anything about marathons. I'm probably fucking saying this all wrong, but let's say you're going to run like a 10-mile race, not marathon race, 10-mile race, right? So you run in a 10-mile race, and as long as you're running, guess what? You're going to run that 10 miles, you're going to complete that goal, you're going to accomplish that goal, you're going to complete the race. Now, what happens if 1 mile into it, you stop running? You just stop and stand there. What happens? You no longer progress. That's it. You stop, dead in your tracks. That's it. That's where you are. You went as far as you are going to go. Now, that's the same thing as weightlifting or cardio or dieting or whatever. If you stop, you just dead stop. Boom, done. It ends. Progress ends. Well, due to metabolic momentum, which is actually a real thing, you kind of get a little bit of progress and it starts to slow and then it stops. So it'd be almost like you're running your race and then you're like, you know what, like I'm getting tired. I don't really want to do this anymore. Then you start walking for a little bit and then you just stop. That would be more accurate to the to compare it to you know, the training and stuff like that. Now, eventually what happens is if you're only a mile into this and there's a 10-mile race, right? Is it more likely that you're going to finish walking 10 miles or say, fuck it, and turn around and go back the 1 mile and say, fuck it, I'm done? 99% of the time, actually I say 100% of the time, I don't know anybody that's like, yeah, I'll just walk another fucking 9 miles for no reason, even though I don't want to run it or do it anymore. No, you turn around and go back the other fucking way. That's exactly how your muscle mass works too. Now, people are going to, like, people tend to listen to what I say and hop on and be like, the body doesn't work that way. It's a fucking analogy. Like, if you can grasp the concept, you can make an analogy out of anything. It doesn't have to be exact science. It's a concept. It's an analogy. So when you stop training with weights, your body has that metabolic momentum that continues for maybe a couple of weeks, like a week and a half or whatever. And eventually there's a dead stop. And what happens is you maintain, which means that you're standing, like at that race, you're standing where you stopped saying, yeah, I don't really want to do this anymore. Fuck, you know, I'm done. Now I need to make a decision. Should I walk the other 9 miles or should I just go back the 1 mile? That's exactly what happens to your muscle mass. It'll maintain for a little bit without the weights. And all of a sudden, the muscle mass turns around and fucking walks back to the start of the race. It goes backwards. Your body is in an adaptive state all the time. If you adapted it to training with weights, then you need to continue to train with weights to keep what you have gained or to continue gaining. Cardio is the same way. If you've used cardio to diet down and lose fat, and you stop doing cardio, you will gain body fat. If you've been dieting for 6 months and you stop dieting, you will gain body fat. But that's like anything else. Like fucking, you know, it doesn't matter what it is. If, like, let's say you're fucking cutting the grass, right? You cut the grass every week. You cut the grass, or twice a week. You cut the grass because it's growing, right? You want to make sure you keep up with it. Your goal is to keep that grass short, and you're keeping it short, right? You're adapting to that grass by cutting it and keeping it short, right? Then one day you say, I'm not fucking cutting it for a few weeks, fuck it. And then the grass is a little bit, like the metabolic momentum continues to grow a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's out of control because you stop fucking mowing it. Why? Because it's fucking going to continue to do what fucking it naturally wants to do. Your body's naturally want to keep that muscle on. If your body naturally wanted that muscle, you would have fucking been born with that muscle and not have to train with weights. But that's not how it fucking works. And I'm sitting here watching people and I'm like, you guys don't have a fucking clue. Like, I get it. Like, we all are delusional and we trick ourselves into thinking, well, I don't, you know, I've been training for so long, I don't have to train with weights anymore. Or I've been doing steroids for so long, I no longer need to take them and I'll maintain my gains. Or, well, I'm not going to do insulin this time because that, you know, I got really big last time. I'm not going to do it this time, but I think I can get just as big without it. What the fuck? You couldn't do it without it before. What makes you think you can do it now? It's fucking mind-boggling how fucking people don't understand, like, the way this fucking world works. Like, all of it, right? You're in a fucking, in a lake, paddling a boat. What happens when you stop paddling the boat? You stop. You have to continue paddling to move forward and progress. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, it frustrates the fuck out of me. And I think people look at working out and dieting and stuff like that as a chore, right? They just want a means to an end. They want the body. They want to look a certain way, but they really don't want to do the work. They really don't enjoy it. And they're just looking forward to the day where they can stop and they no longer have to do that anymore. But when they stop, it all goes to hell. And then what you have is the person telling people like, well, I used to work out, I used to look good, I used to do this, I used to do that. Maybe they even show you pictures of themselves like, oh yeah, this is what I used to do, it's what I used to do. Like, they're not even fucking comprehending the fact that they could probably still look like that, you know, barring the fact they had an injury or, you know, whatever, they were getting older or whatever. They could probably still look like that if they kept training. You know what I mean? Or they at least could look a lot better than they do if they kept training, but they don't really like it and they just couldn't wait to get done. So many people can't wait to get done with a show. Oh, I'm 1 week out, I'm fucking tired, I can't wait. But I'm not going to get fat this off season. I'm not going to gain a bunch of weight. I'm not going to make it harder for myself next time I diet down. And then what happens is they get done with the show, they eat a couple things. It doesn't really affect the way they look. They may get a little bit bloated, maybe, you know, a little puffy. You know, they get a nice full pump, but it doesn't really affect them negatively. And next thing you know, they're like, well, it doesn't really affect me, so I no longer have to do those diets and shit. I think my body has a new set point. I've heard that so many times, like, well, I've been dieting for so long, my body has a new set point. Well, 35 pounds later and 4 weeks later, they can't figure out what the fuck happened. And they're depressed and they're fucked up. And I'm like, why didn't you just continue what you're doing? Like, that's the whole concept of reverse dieting, right? Like, you continue to do what you're doing, you reverse out of it, but you continue to eat certain foods, do certain things to make sure that you don't get fat. Because you know what? Naturally, you're fat. And when you go off fucking diets and you go off training and shit, you're going to get fat again. And there's no fucking way around it. Like, your genetics are your fucking genetics, and humans are the fucking what they are. And everything in this world, you know, what is it? That theory, an object in motion has a tendency to stay in motion, right? Therefore, an object not in motion has a tendency not to move. That's exactly the fucking concept that needs to be applied to just about everything in your fucking life, whether it's family, business, training, whatever the fuck it is. That's the concept. You have to continuously work. You have to continuously do just to maintain. Could you imagine if you got your first paycheck and you said, well, now I made money, so I'm not going to work anymore. I have money now. What happens if you don't work? The fucking money goes away. It depletes. You're done. It's the same fucking concept, but it's so hard for people to grasp. And I think, honestly, because they just don't like training. It's too hard. It's too much work. They don't want to do that much work because physical work is something that is looked upon nowadays as it's celebrated. Like, if you're a blue-collar person nowadays, oh, you're fucking a hard worker. Oh, hard work, work hard, work hard. But not everybody has the heart to be a blue-collar worker. Not everybody was raised that way. Not everybody can deal with being a blue-collared work person all the time, and it winds up showing. So hopefully this can kind of flip a switch in some of your heads, because some of you guys are going to see this and be like, I know exactly what the fuck he's talking about. He's right. Some of you are going to go, fuck, that might be what I was doing wrong. Some of you are going to go, fuck you, Jerry, you're an idiot. Like, it's going to be across the board like it always is. But the people out there right now that are wondering, that are trying to figure out where they're failing, what they're doing wrong because they're not being able to maintain or progress, that's the reason why. To get to where you need to be, you have to do. And once you get there, you need to continue doing what you did to get there to maintain it. BioStateTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrength.com is the blog. It's a do what you need to do and keep doing that shit. And we are